1.8.9 PvP is actually extremely difficult to learn and requires a lot of skill, but I think I have narrowed it down to just how you can go from this to this. In just about one day, and even be able to beat some of the leaderboard players along the way. Also, if you enjoyed this video and other of my videos, please subscribe, because I'm going to be making a lot more tutorials just like this one to how you can better your PvP abilities. So with that being said, enjoy the video. So 1.8.9 PvP is about 5 main components. Number 1, your aim. Number 2, your CPS. Number 3, strafing. Number 4, your technique you're using to PvP. And number 5, the main component that can either make or break your PvP. First, let's start with number 1, your aim. A lot of players, including even some of the top players, don't really take a chance to learn aim. This is probably due to the fact that a lot of shooter games focus aim a lot more than Minecraft does. But aim is actually really important in Minecraft, and it is mostly important in your rodding, your bowing, and even your average melee combat. Even though they're such a big target, it is still important to be able to hit them consistently. Now, I have a couple of ways that you can practice your aim. The first way is an aim trainer. Now, I have a couple of different aim trainers because a couple of them do cost money, so I have 2 really good aim trainers that are completely free. The first one is Aim.io. I will have a link for both of these aim trainers in the description, but as you can see, this is the game mode that I like to play. There's basically just different targets that pop up, and you have to hit them before you lose all your lives and die. I feel like this can simulate close-up Minecraft combat, which is really good for just practicing that aim. And again, I'll have a link for this in the description. But the next one is aiming.pro, and this one is also free. You do get ads, which is kind of annoying, but it's more of practicing shooting, but this can simulate your bow aim or that just agility of maybe some bow shooting or rod shooting, which can really help you in PvP and can go a long way. Now, the next tip for practicing aim is just going into a single player world and just bowing certain mobs and or rodding them backward. And you just can practice aim with this. You can practice rod aim and bow aim, because I think those are really hard to get down, especially rod aim. I know Hypixel also does have a just bow game mode, bow duels, so you can practice your bow aim on bow duels, and also some bow strafing, which I'll be going over later in the video. But that brings me to my second point, which is your CPS. Now, your CPS is actually really important for holding somebody in that combo once you get the initial hits on them with your rod. So if you don't know your average CPS, I would recommend you test it with a CPS tester. And if you want to get a higher CPS, then you can start practicing your CPS. But if you are satisfied with your CPS, then you can just maybe skip this part. But here are some ways that you can improve your CPS. There are a lot of different CPS methods, and there are also a lot of different ways to train your CPS. So a couple of different clicking methods are jitter clicking, butterfly clicking, double clicking, drag clicking, and so many more. You can look more into those clicking methods, but those are just some that I know off at the top of my head. But some ways that you can practice your clicking is by maybe sumo duels in Hypixel. Sumo duels is just a basic 1v1, and you're trying to hit the player off of the platform, and this is basically solely CPS based, maybe a little bit of W tapping in there, but it is almost 100% CPS based. Another good way is there are a lot of servers that will not only practice your left click, but also practice your right click with trying to hit the person off of the platform, and then you're going to have to try and clutch with your right click. So those are a great way to practice. I'll have the IPs for the servers on screen, and you can try some of those. See if it works. If it doesn't, then you can maybe try a different clicking method or a different mouse. Whatever works best for you, that's a CPS method that you should go with. But then my third point, strafing. Now there is a couple different types of strafing. There is side-to-side strafing, where you are simply pressing A and D back and forth as you are hitting the person. So once you initially get them into that combo, like I talked about earlier, you are pressing A and D to strafe out of the way of their attacks once you are hitting the person. Or there's also circle strafing, which is the same thing. Once you are comboing the person and hitting them, you are strafing out of the way of their attacks, and you're either holding A and circling around them to attack them, or you're holding D and circling around them to attack them in that same circular motion, but the other way. Number 4, your PvP method. Now the type of PvP you use is very important for what type of situation you are in. For example, I might use W tapping if I have no rod where I can't combo somebody, or if I'm in bedwars and I have like no projectiles to the point where I can't really hit somebody with something to be able to combo them, or I might block hit if I'm in a tight space in skywars or something. There is different types of PvP that you can use differently. For W tapping, you are pressing W as you are sprinting. So you will start sprinting, press W, stop sprinting and stop walking, then put your hand back on your controls, and press W again and continue sprinting. So it's basically like press down, sprint, lift up on your keys, and then it's just a constant repetitive motion. And this works because once you press down W and control the first time, initially you're dealing more knockback, and if they have no projectiles or nothing that they can use on you to break that combo, you will be comboing them, and you're going to deal more knockback with W tapping than you would just normally hitting them. Now for block hitting is something that is more defensive, where you are pressing both of your mouse buttons at the same time with both your pointer and your middle finger. You are pressing down both of your mouse buttons, and as what this is doing is you are both hitting and you are blocking. So by blocking your sword, you are not taking, or you are taking less damage, but you block your sword. And don't do this like on every swing. If you are somebody who block hits on every swing, block hitting is very easy to combo if you block hit every swing. I would only block hit if you are low, or if you're in a tight space with somebody else who maybe has a lot of gear. That's a good time to use block hitting. Now at the beginning of the video, I said that this is the main component that is actually going to allow you to learn 1.8.9 PvP in one day. And that's game sense. Now game sense is just knowing what to do when. This can look different for almost every player, and it is important to develop a play style that suits you so that you can win easier. But what does game sense actually look like in a classic duel? Well, there are a lot of things that can impact this, one of the main ones being knowing when you should back out of a fight. Also, knowing when you should or shouldn't rod or bow can really help you. But this doesn't only work for classic duels, it also works for bedwars and skywars and so many other game modes. But some big things for those game modes is knowing who you should rush and in what order you should rush those people. As you can see, there's a lot of things that can impact your game sense, and this isn't even all of them, so it is important to know how you should practice this. Some good ways to practice this are either talking with other players and seeing how they play, watching your opponents, or watching other YouTubers. Just observing how other people play and incorporating some of that into your gameplay is really important, and it can make you better almost instantly. But that is all for this video. If you enjoyed, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe, because I'm going to be making more tutorials just like this one in the very near future, including a full guide on bedwars. So once again, thank you for watching, and goodbye.